When you look through the 10th Doctor's 3 seasons and specials, you see so many great episodes that jump out at you. Human Nature, The Family of Blood, Blink, Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead, The Girl in the Fireplace, The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. Tennant's run as the Doctor was the show firing on all cylinders, but there is always one episode that stuck out to me as different. And so in this video, I'm gonna look at it. So join me as we dive into the episode Midnight, to see why I think it is Tennant's greatest episode of Doctor Who. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you like videos like this. Woo! TV shows are expensive to make. You have to pay for the cast, crew, sets, location, editors, cinematographers, directors, special effects, costume, makeup, the list goes on and on. This needs to be budgeted whilst also meeting the demands of the production, and because of this, you find that many shows have what are called bottle episodes. Bottle episodes are episodes that are made as cheaply as possible. Minimal sets, special effects, and cast members are used so as to keep the cost low. Midnight is an example of a bottle episode. Apart from the very beginning and the very end, the episode takes place in essentially one room, inside the Tor shuttle, a very basic set with a few rows of chairs and a few doors. Because of this, only a limited cast is required, a total of 10 people in the shuttle. Donna is also missing from the bulk of this episode, deciding to stay back and relax and let the Doctor go on the Tor alone. Alongside this, the monster is invisible, only ever portrayed through the actors themselves. But I think that when it comes to art, freedom can be detrimental. Constraints enhance creativity, driving the artist to go above and beyond to innovate to achieve their goals. In a TV show such as Doctor Who, without the companion, a visible monster, without flashy special effects, bombastic set pieces, and without multiple locations, two things need to be incredible for an episode to work: the writing and the acting. The characters need to be engaging and interesting, and the plot needs to be focused, refined, and punchy, because you have nothing else to rely on. And thankfully, that's the case here. Midnight takes something normal and pretty mundane, essentially a bus tour, and injects a sci-fi twist into it, creating one of the most suspenseful and tense episodes in Doctor Who that we've ever had. The premise is this: a bunch of tourists and the Doctor stuck in a shuttle on a harsh and deadly planet with a monster that no one can see. Such a simple premise, but what Russell T Davies does with this script is amazing. I think that there are 3 elements to this story that makes it so brilliant, and that's what we're going to focus on: the humans, the monster, and the Doctor. On this shuttle, we get a hodgepodge of different characters. You've got Professor Hobbs, an enthusiastic academic, and his assistant Dee Dee, the insufferable Mr. and Mrs. Kane, I hate them so much, and their disinterested son Jethro, Sky Silvestri, a recently single tourist, and the hostess, who's in charge of keeping the passengers comfortable and calm. You get a sense of each of these characters through their interactions with the Doctor at the start of the episode. Hobbs is enthusiastic, proudly proclaiming that this is his 14th time on this tour.
Oh, it's my 14th time. Oh, my first.
And I'm Dee Dee Blasco.
Don't bother the man.
But after Dee Dee introduces herself, he berates her, giving a glimpse of their relationship. He looks down on her and makes her feel useless. The Kanes seem like a pretty run-of-the-mill family. Jethro is at that age where he doesn't want to be around his parents, keeping his distance. When Mr. and Mrs. Kane are telling their fun story to the group, Jethro mouths the punchline, indicating that he's heard this story 1,000 times. He's bored and fed up with his parents.
And the pool is abstract.
The hostess is impatient, giving off the sense that she is already annoyed with the Doctor even in their first interaction.
Fascinating.
And Sky keeps to herself, reading her book, not really interacting with anyone else. They all seem like pretty regular people. Flawed, yes, but nothing out of the ordinary. But the interesting thing is what happens to this group of strangers after the creature attacks the shuttle and possesses Sky. You see them group together, becoming a mob of opinions and voices, driven by fear and panic of the unknown. Seeing something they don't understand, these innocent and normal people spiral down into savagery. This all begins with the hostess suggesting that they can throw the now possessed and creepy Skye out of the shuttle, killing her.
We should throw her out.
You can see the initial reactions of the group, horror and confusion at the suggestion, the doctor trying to hold down reason by dismissing the idea. But slowly, one by one, people begin to flirt with this notion. First, Mrs. Kane asks an innocent question.
Can you do that? Don't be ridiculous.
Then Mr. Kane has this outburst.
Just stop it! Stop talking! Stop it!
Then Dee Dee explains how it can be done.
Yes, we can. There's an air pressure seal. Takes a pressure wall about 6 seconds to collapse. That's enough time to throw someone out.
All it takes is for one person to suggest it, one person to say that they could kill her, and the dominoes begin to fall. It is a commentary on mob mentality.
Could you actually murder her? Any of you? Really?
I'd do it.
So would I.
Penny. I think we should. What?
The impatient hostess is the catalyst to all of this, sowing the seeds of fear and doubt. Her crazy and paranoid voice vocalizes the thoughts that probably all of the others have already had, but they've suppressed. She drives the narrative to make it seem like this is a morally right thing to do. It is the only thing to do.
Whatever it is, killed the driver and the mechanic, and I don't think she's finished yet. She killed Joe, and she killed Claude, and we're next.
And because of this, the whole group descends into this mob-like state, casting off any reason and choosing aggression and death. They throw aside the doctor, the voice of reason, and end up attempting to kill him. And it's all done over the course of 15 minutes, the script ebbing and flowing between will they or won't they try to kill. And finally, they do. They try to kill the doctor, a fantastic depiction of group thought driven by panic and fear. The Midnight Entity's introduction is fantastic. The idea of a planet that no one has actually seen, a place completely unknown by any living being, gives a brilliant jumping off point for a creature that is truly terrifying. And by never actually showing its true form, we are only left to imagine what this being is, what its motivations are, and what it is fully capable of. The tension of the episode is set to max as soon as the knocking starts. It moves around the shuttle, playing with its prey, stoking fear and terror. Fear is a massive theme of this monster. Skye freaks out the most, and so it chooses to possess her. Skye is the most isolated from the group from the get-go. We see that she keeps to herself. The only person she actually speaks to is the doctor in a small interaction. The entity chose her because it caused the most fear within the group itself, enabling it to manipulate all of them against her. It is clear that the entity isn't particularly intelligent to begin with, not being able to do or say anything of its own autonomy. All it can do is repeat what it hears, but this is so freaky. The idea of something copying everything you say is inherently weird and strange. Russell T Davies tapped into an idea that just feels so real here. But the evolution of the idea is where it gets even creepier. The scene when we realise that it started to sync exactly in time with everyone's voices is incredibly unnerving. The sound of two different voices at the same time is downright strange, abnormal, and it ramps up the tension even more.
How can she do that? She's talking with you and with me. Oh my God.
And then finally there is the moment where it speaks before the doctor.
What do you think? Do we have a deal?
The realization that has now progressed to the next stage, taking control of the doctor as he sits there petrified, unable to move, is horrifying. The idea of someone stealing your voice, your thoughts, your words. There is a psychological horror to it that we rarely see in a show like Doctor Who, and it is incredible. The entity successfully manipulates the humans, using the Doctor as its scapegoat, convincing them that he is the one who is possessed, but she is free. Leslie Sharp, the actor who plays Skye, does a phenomenal job here, coming across as so inhuman with her movements, her looks and her words. It truly is a monster worth remembering. The 10th Doctor's amazement and love for the universe he travels is so prevalent here, as it is in so many of his episodes. Him being in this situation is purely driven by his childlike wonder and thirst for knowledge, as he's drawn to see the beauty of this unknown planet. On the shuttle, he gets the group talking,
Tell you what, we'll have to talk to each other instead.
breaking down the social barriers, utilising his bubbly and approachable charm. And when things start to go south, he takes charge, as he always does, trying to analyse the situation, figure out what's going on, and ultimately trying to keep the people calm and collected. But what is interesting about this episode is that it doesn't work. We are used to the Doctor having control of the situations he's in, having a plan, being the one to save those who are in danger. But none of this happens. The entity is a completely new life form, something he doesn't have any knowledge about. He is trying to figure out and learn what is happening from the get-go. And while he's doing this, he's trying to take charge of the group of panicked and confused humans. But we quickly see his authority fade. I think that if Donna was here, it would have turned out completely differently. She would have slapped some sense into the hostess and reassured people that the Doctor is the best person to listen to. But she's not here. We see the group start to doubt him. His arrogance and confidence and mysteriousness is the crux of that lack of faith.
I don't want her becoming me, or things could get a whole lot worse.
Oh, right, you're so special.
As it happens, yes I am.
Interestingly enough, his lack of a name plays into this.
Calling me a coward?
Who put you in charge anyway?
I'm sorry, but you're a doctor of what
He
exactly?
hasn't even told us his name.
You called us humans like you're not one of us.
That's what he said. If you're clever, then what are we? You've been looking down on us from the moment we walked in.
Perhaps you could tell us your name. What does it matter? Then tell us.
We aren't used to seeing the Doctor being backed into a corner in this way, and Tennant brings the goods. We see his anger and bewilderment with the humans' ability to completely disregard their morals as they descend into that mob-like state, and they start to turn on him. We are so used to seeing the Doctor giving speeches about humans and humanity, but here it backfires. It outs him as a non-human entity. And that is when the creature pounces on him. Sensing the group's distrust around the Doctor, it takes control of him and incapacitates him. Tennant's acting here is phenomenal. Every word feels like it is painful to say, as you can see that the Doctor is trying to fight for control, but is losing. The whole episode is a failure for the Doctor. He fails to keep the group at bay, sane and reasonable. He fails to keep the creature safe so that he can figure out what it is and learn more about it. And if it wasn't for the hostess's final moment of realization, the Doctor would be dead. This is not a victory for him. This is a crushing defeat. And you can see that in the final scene. We see this hero being bullied and pushed around, controlled and incapacitated, sentenced to death, one he has no control over. And you can see the fear in his eyes. And that all comes to fruition here.
Molto bene.
Molto bene.
No, don't do that. Don't. Don't.
As he shuts Donna down, grasping for words, a scowl on his face, the sad and dramatic music playing over the top, we see that he is mentally scarred, terrified at what has transpired. And let's be honest, there isn't much that can do that to the Doctor. What an episode. It's just so well done, well written and well acted, and I absolutely love it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this, go and check out more of my Doctor Who content. I've linked it here. I also do videos on a bunch of other TV shows, films and video games, so if that floats your boat, then do check out the rest of my channel and subscribe. And that's all from me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!